1, bandits are in hot. Press fresh to engage.
Over the target AO with the fear of God in
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to week 14, SATAL inSKY versus ITGC. We're just getting a couple things ironed out. There's some issues with the mission that the editor's causing, so give me a few minutes and we'll get these kinks ironed out here. I am going to throw you guys to the talk show screen real quick, and we'll get this fixed. So give me a couple more minutes and we'll get this back underway.
Channel switched. Hey, wake up.
I think we're fixed. There was an issue with the mission editor, and I'm here all by my lonesome making this happen. So let's get this underway, guys. Welcome to Week 14 SATAL inSKY versus ITGC. This is going to be a pivotal matchup in what happens with the seedings and anything moving forward with the end game tournament in September or October. Excuse me. Speaking of that, talking about the end game tournament, what we've decided is it's going to be 4 teams moving on from each group. So 4 teams from Group A, 4 teams from Group B. Let me grab how this is going to work for you real quick. Let's see if I remember right. So essentially what's going to happen is 3rd place from Group A is going to play 3rd place from Group B. Then the winner of that match is going to play the 2nd place of the opposite, so in this case, Group B. And then that winner is going to play the winner of that group. So the winners of each group essentially get a bye into the semifinal. So we have an in-play game into the quarterfinal, right? 3rd versus 4th. The 2nd place team gets an immediate bye into the quarterfinal, and then the winner of the in-play game will play 2nd place in the quarterfinal, and the winner of that game will play 1st place in the semifinal. So it provides a benefit for seeding higher in the tournament instead of just everybody playing the same amount of games. Fix the scoreboard. Ah, my bad. Forgot to change that name. Let's get that fixed. Fixed. Thanks for reminding me, Seal. Much appreciated. So if that was clear as mud, I'm sorry, but that's what's going on. Okay, so we'll take this time real quick to mention our sponsors. 2 pivotal sponsors are Lot ATC and TACView. Lot ATC donating the Lot ATC modules for all the teams because that's what we're using for GCI and AWACS. We're not using the end game. That's disabled. If you want a GCI for the teams, you have to use Lot ATC. We use that for a more realistic approach. Modeled, real-world radars, all that stuff. So TACView is also donating advanced licenses for the winners in 2nd place. Buddy Fox for their hardware modules and support that they're doing. If you haven't checked any of these guys out, Lot ATC, TACView, or Buddy Fox, be sure to click the links down below. Check out their websites and what they're offering. And last but not least, Heatblur for everything that they've done in making this tournament SATAL happen. Those of you guys that don't know what also is going on with them, they are donating 6 modules, well, 12 modules, to 1st and 2nd place. So that's really anything they offer, and then 500 euros to the winning team. So it's a significant contribution, and it's really the first time this has ever happened in DCS world history. So kudos to all these guys, Lot ATC, TACView, Buddy Fox, and Heatblur for allowing us to put SATAL on and being awesome sponsors in this journey forward, and hopefully on bigger and better things. Just fixing some stuff right here on the overlay real quick. Let's see what the teams are taking here. We've got ITGC is already starting taxi. I think they're in all J11s. Indeed, that is what it looks to be. Weather's doing some weird... Guys, we might have to just contend with this. There's the rain. It just wasn't modeling for some reason. I guess we should point on that too. So weather selection for today is stormy. Winds up to 20 meters a second. Load cloud deck. And the other thing that's happening is it's Maycop versus Sanaki. So not only is it stormy in this particular scenario, they have to deal with mountains. The entire fight is over the mountain range. So they have to contend with A, the mountains, but B, low visibility. And if they do choose to fly low, with the mountains in the high deck. Let's see what inSKY's taking. I've got F-15s, F-15s. Looks like F-15s all around. So this could be a J-11 versus F-15. No, inSKY's taking a mixed loadout here. We've got F-15s and a single J-11 coming out of inSKY 800, while ITGC is taking all J-11s. Watch ITGC here, taxi, and we'll get this show on the road. We're just waiting for inSKY to spool up, get ready to go. I'm really excited to see this match. The weather and the cloud deck, combined with the mountains like we said earlier, this could shape up to be a doozy. Could be some lawn darts, especially with the mountains poking through the clouds. ETs could play a pivotal role in that. When they launch, you're not going to get a lock. If they're below or above and you're the opposite, you're not going to see the missile launch. And unfortunately, with how DCS is modeled, the ET and the IR sensors can lock through cloud cover. But it's just something we have to contend with. But that could be a massive advantage that the flankers have with Erst and their long-range IR missiles here. And again, guys, for those that are just joining us, we started a little late. We had some technical difficulties. I had some stuff that I had to get sorted out with the map. But we're here now. Underway. inSKY versus ITGC. Flanker C says he looks forward to seeing inSKY's performance. I look forward to seeing both of these teams' performances. Again, like I said at the beginning, this is a pivotal match to see what the seeding's going to be like in the in-game tournament here. This is going to be really important, especially for ITGC. They need to get a win. If they can get a win, it's going to do a lot for getting them into the in-game tournament and making sure that they're not one of the two that's eliminated from each team, or from each group, excuse me. While we got some downtime, interact with chat a little bit. What does everybody think? I have it. I just haven't flown on it yet. Of the Persian Gulf. Is it as awesome as everybody's saying it is? We've got the Hornet coming next week. Under a week. TM 2 weeks. Could delay it again. Hopefully not. But under a week supposedly for the Hornet. It's supposed to hit, what, next Wednesday? Marco, yes. ITGC is an Indian squadron. And then inSKY is Chinese. Who's leading these guys off? Drona is leading them off. Ghost, yeah, I do need to fly it. I just haven't had time. I moved my setup. I'm honestly lucky that I'm able to cast this. I forgot how long it takes me to move my rig. Made some changes, upgraded the cooling, got a couple new monitors. Took like 9 hours to move and get everything set up again. But I do need to fly. Definitely do need to fly it. Hamp Croquette. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. Thanks for the follow, buddy. Hopefully you enjoy the show. Looks like ITGC is spooling down to conserve fuel. Let's go see what's going on with inSKY. Wish there was a more intuitive way to do this. Another thing that I was working on earlier this week is I changed my sound mod. So if you guys notice anything that sounds weird, or you think could sound better, or have some sounds that you think I should use, I'm not trying to self-promote here, I'm just trying to make this as best as we can, let me know. Shoot me a PM, let me know in chat. I read chat the entire time. So let's try, I'm gonna try and make that as good as I can and as best as I can moving forward. Ghost, yeah, it was a consolidation. I went from 5 displays down to 3, but the missus gave me the go-ahead to get 2 new ultra-wides, so I'm actually rocking 3 ultra-wides right now in a vertical configuration with the main one in the center. But it just took a long time to get everything measured and set up correctly, and as you get older, you care more about the aesthetic and how everything looks. So that just took forever. Major Havoc, welcome. Welcome, welcome. Hopefully you enjoy the show. Yeah, the Chinese Ghost says 3 bags are back. The Chinese like the 3-bag approach. And I'd like to know from the guys that fly with 3 bags what advantage they think it provides. Thought I heard a gate there. If they think there's an advantage or if there actually is an advantage. I don't fly the F-15. I have before, but honestly, I haven't put a lot of time into it, so I'm not entirely sure what the benefits are. I know it has to do with drag, but I can't say from firsthand that yes, you should be flying with 2 bags or 3 or 1. I don't know firsthand. I can just regurgitate what people have said. So I'd like to know, guys in chat, please speak up, what the advantages and disadvantages are, and if there's been definitive testing, I'm sure there has, on the optimal setup. Ham Croquette. Give me the proper pronunciation for that if you don't mind. He says, better than I was called a few days back by some dude pronouncing my name, Hand Fuck Rocket. I'd take that as a compliment, Ham. I'm just gonna call you Ham because it's easier. Ghost, is there any type of advantage if you're going to gate the entire way to taking 3 bags? Or is the increased drag outweigh the increased fuel that you can carry? Alright, so they're ready. We're going to watch ITGC take off because I prefer watching it Makeup and not Sanaki. So we're going to go up here. So 2 wing bags, Ghost says, is slightly less than a single center line. Wonder why that is. Ghost, do you know the science behind that? Why 2 bags would have less drag than a single bag? Is it purely based on the position and how they're carried on the wings relative to the intakes? We can get sciencey in chat. We can get nerdy. ITGC spooling up. Oh, Kura. What's up? Haven't talked to you in a while. This raid's gonna be, man, it's gonna make for an interesting go. And I gave the go, 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 so fight's on. Both teams should be taking off. Again, this is inSKY versus ITGC. inSKY is flying primarily F-15s with a single J-11, while ITG is flying a full-on loadout of J-11s. I didn't check their loadouts, actually, but it looks like Drona had at least 2 R-77s. I'm not really sure. We can try and check what the other guys have as they take off. I think I saw 1 R-77 there. I can't really see the center lines. Those look like ERs. And this is just me getting glimpses as they come by. R-77 center lined there with 2 ERs under the fuselage, or under the intakes. So that's 4 gone for them. Waiting on these last 2. They're probably trying to build separation between the lead 4 ship so that they don't have to do it in the air. So we got a lead 3 ship. What Vertical Charlie looks like he's stopped on the runway. I guess they're waiting for separation here. Have to see how this plays out. We've got a lead 3 ship of Drona, Skinner, and Stiglitz coming out of Maycop for ITGC with what I'm assuming is a trail 3 ship of Vertical Charlie, Top Gun, and Cougar. They haven't taken off yet, but we'll have to see what happens there. If we come down and look at inSKY, inSKY 800's leading him out with 925, 1155, and 1823 behind him. So we've got a singleton followed by a 3 ship. Again, this is just estimations and guesswork based on what I'm seeing on departures, with 552 and 1821 taking a slight offset to the east coming out of Sanaki. Kira, I don't right now. There was a picture of it that I posted in the Splash 1 Discord. You may be able to see it in the Sims Pit set channel, so you can check it out there. Have they taken off yet? They are still waiting. There we go. All right, they're departing now. So here we go. Look at that crosswind. Look at how he's flying at low speed. Slightly at an angle. I mean, the crosswind is going to be huge, especially when we're coming back into landing. These guys are going to be light if they're damaged. We could go back and see a Chinese festival where they win the match, but they're unable to land due to visibility and the wind, especially if they're damaged. So this weather, again, guys, I'm getting excited about it. My hair's standing up. This is, we're getting going. This weather could change things. Low cloud deck, wind, rain, the mountains. Could see some lawn darts, lots of low visibility, ETs, and really any type of IR missile, the actives, R-77s, and the 120s. Everything is going to be really pivotal. So he does have 2 R-77s center lighted with 2 ERs under the air intakes. And he's got a singleton ER. With the wind as it is, that's interesting. I would have never guessed that that was going to happen. I would have taken 2 ETs. With a singleton ET. I would have taken 2. With the low visibility, using the cloud deck to our advantage, and being able to shoot up through that cloud deck with those ETs, I would have used that to my advantage, honestly. That's interesting. Maybe it'll work out for him. Not what I would have done, but everybody has their own ways to do things. So we can see here now that ITGC is in a definitive separated 2-3 ships. So we have Droner leading Stiglitz and Skinner in the first one. And again, like we said earlier, Vertical Charlie leading Cougar and Top Gun. Let's go down and check what inSKY's doing. We have 2 singletons now with a trail 4 ship. So 800 is leading the way, followed by 925. Going to be interesting to see what happens here. My guess here would be that 800 and 925 are going to try and draw missiles in. They were going to extend into the trailing 4 ship, and then the 4 ship is going to press their advantage. Maybe they're assuming that the lead elements from ITGC is going to turn cold, and then they can really press balls to the wall and make something happen. If I remember correctly, inSKY, this is just recollection, was decently aggressive in their matchups. Flying close formation here. Coming through markings. A little bit separated. Mazgan, welcome, welcome. Hopefully you enjoy the show. So separation currently is... How far we got? 107 nautical miles, so still fairly separated. Both teams are entering the mountain ranges now. How is this going to play out? What altitudes do we have? So ITGC, they're passing Angels 30. For inSKY, passing Angels 30. So we're relatively even on the ingress into this fight. Complete opposite airframes. Primarily J-11s up here. Primarily F-15s down here. with the weather, is that going to provide any type of advantages or disadvantages either way? Which way is this going to go? My gut tells me that the J11 Su-27 Flanker B+ has the advantage with the cloud cover because of those ETs. The R-77s, I saw somebody earlier in chat say they were a little more underwhelming than they thought they were going to be. I would agree. They're really only effective in all we're testing with 51st at 10 kilometers and under. They don't have the range. They have a ton of drag, and their motor doesn't burn for very long, so they don't have a lot of energy out of the gate. Still the same setup coming out of inSKY. 2 leads with a Trail 4 ship. I don't think I've seen anybody disconnect. Nope. And we've got our lead 3 ship with our Trail 3 ship here. ITGC is still flying primarily to the south. They haven't come in yet. Still going to the south. And they are wings level at about Angels 30. So they're headed south towards Sochi Guadana, while inSKY is taking a direct route towards ITGC. Well, they're slightly offset here to the north. It looks like they may be turning in. Nope, not yet. Turn on VSync here so I'm not using all my GPU. So separation now, we're down to 71 nautical miles. So we're getting a little closer. Man. Satellite anybody? Let's use satellite. That's a little better and easier to see. Down to 60 nautical miles. Still the same. Could see some breaking offs here. 552 and 1821 look like they're breaking off or building separation from the lead singletons. Still the same 2-3 ships coming from ITGC. Feel like the markings look a little bit different, a little bit better now in the latest patch. So separation of lead elements down to 50 nautical miles, roughly 80 to 90 kilometers. What are we going to see? Let's change the music here. Who's going to shoot first? What weapons are we going to see released first? What's going to happen? Man, I'm stoked for this match. This matchup, in my opinion, is really even. I have no idea who's going to win. Who's going to come out on top? Who's going to win this round? I'm excited. Get ready, folks. We're getting ready. Almost there. Round 1. SATAL Week 14. inSKY versus ITGC. Separation's down to 37 nautical miles. They're building separation here, so we've got the lead singletons of 800 and 925. And I don't know what the Trail 4 ship's doing here. It looks like 1821 and 1823 may be turning in together. I'm not sure what 552 and 1155 are doing, but we can see ITGC breaking up in what looks like a wall formation. Don't like that song. This does not sound... Down to 20 nautical miles. We should be seeing our first Foxes here coming shortly. That's terrible. Is that better? Let me know, guys, what provides the best visibility to you guys. This is probably the best. So our first Fox coming out of Skinner, it's an ER, Foxed at 23 nautical miles. That is a long ER shot. How high is he? He is 30,000 feet. Now, that could be a home on jam. I'm not sure if that was on 925 or 800. Could be home on jams. They may not know. Here comes another ER coming out of Stiglitz. That is 17 nautical miles, so a bit better. Still rather long. Like to see those a little bit shorter, but they could just be trying to put these two guys onto the defensive. He's defending. You see that flare coming? Just in case there's an ET headed their way. No rain. looks like in this current location, some low cloud deck, fog down there in the mountains. We may not see rain in this current location. We've got 3 guys coming from inSKY out of the north, 552, 1155, and 1823, pressing the advantage. So we did see the first 2 ships from inSKY 800 and 925 try and bait out those missiles and the aggressiveness out of ITGC, while the other 4 ship presses their advantage. Now we have the trail 3 ship coming in from ITGC, Vertical, Charlie, Top Gun, and Cougar, with the 4 ship, now 3 ship coming from inSKY. So we see 3 ship extending, 3 ship hot, 3 ship extending, 3 ship hot. So the hot elements from each team are now separated by 30 nautical miles. We're over the snow-tipped peaks here in the mountain range. Let's have a look at the weather. Weather is clear in this current location, so really the rain is only going to be an issue on landings and takeoffs. There's a split S coming from 552. He may have just felt, you know, he knew these guys were here but couldn't find any, so he's extending. Now it looks like 1821 is extending. We may be seeing a regroup coming from inSKY where they all recommit together. So instead of 3 ships, we see a singleton element wall press ITGC. But we do see 1823 continuing to press. Now he's a lone wolf. He's got a supporting element behind him, but that's 14 nautical miles, roughly 30 kilometers. So 800 back here is not really going to be able to do a whole lot to support his brethren up here in the front. We have the 3 ships still hot, passing the extending element from ITGC of Cougar, Charlie, and Top Gun. Now we do see 1823 now extending, so they're playing really conservative. This is not what I thought was going to happen. I thought we were going to see a more aggressive approach come from inSKY, but instead they're playing hugely reserved. We've only seen the 2 ERs come out of ITGC. Nothing that I have seen yet has been launched from inSKY. Separation on the hot elements is down to 22 nautical miles. Still pretty far for missile launches. I'd like to see us get down to, 15 nautical miles or under, but we do see an ER coming at 18 nautical miles. That's pretty far. You're pushing 35 kilometers. But we do see inSKY, and this is the singleton J11 that inSKY has, responding to that ER shot and extending. He puts an R77 out there, but that is a long R77 shot. Like I said earlier, the R77 from our testing is only really dangerous inside 10 kilometers. And even inside 10 kilometers, it's still kind of laughable, especially if the Bandit turns cold. It doesn't have a lot of energy. Here comes another ER coming on a hot element down here. Cougar foxing on 925 from 14 nautical miles. That's roughly 30 kilometers. So this is a really reserved fight. We're not seeing a lot of the typical aggression that we've seen in the past. Cougar may have just disconnected. Uh-oh. Hopefully he can get through that. Hopefully he comes back. I don't want to see him disconnect. And he does disconnect. Damn. So that's the first casualty coming from ITGC down there. So we're down to a 6v5. So we're down to 5 on ITGC due to that disconnect out of Cougar, and 6 for ITGC. So we did see a 120B. I'm not sure who that came from. Fox from inSKY, but you can see that though that R77 was fired first and from further up, the 120B has a significant amount more energy. And this is exactly what I was talking about with the R77. You can really only use it from 10 kilometers because of its severe lack of energy in the fight. We see an ET coming from Stiglitz. That is a long ET shot. I'm not sure what was going on there. Maybe it was a residual that was fired earlier, but that was a waste. I really don't understand that shot. We've got a 120B and a 77 coming on Drona. He doesn't know those have been fired yet. He sees the flares. I'd like to see some flares coming here, coming out of gate to make sure that you're not dealing with an ET, because they know that there is an a J11 out there. There's some chaff, so he's getting the missile warnings. The R77's dead. It's out of energy, and so is that 120B. But this is what we've talked about repeatedly. Just because you don't know that there's a missile coming, you still gotta respect that there could be an ET headed your direction. So Skinner could be in trouble here. That 120B could have a decent amount of energy as it reaches him. Is it gonna hit him? I don't think so. He's bled that thing out of energy, and no, it passes him. So this is still a pretty weird fight. Really weird fight as we go forward. Both teams are being really conservative in this initial engagement. I like it. It's a change from what we see in the past. But we'll have to see how this plays out. We already know that ITGC is down 1 pilot. They're down to 5. inSKY still has a full roster of 6. I think the primary engagement is going to come up here in the north. We've got 4 pilots up here in the north. 4 pilots up here in the north for ITGC. Stiglitz is kind of out here all by his lonesome. I don't know if he's tumbleweed or what's going on, but he's kind of isolated back there to the west. See if he can get out of his funk and rejoin the engagement here. But we don't. So this is what we were talking about with the conservativeness. 1821 could have continued to press, but instead he's broken it off and taken a more northerly offset here. Top Gun obviously sees him. There's a long ER shot, 18 nautical miles. You're pushing 35 kilometers at that point. And another really long ET shot. That's like 60 kilometers. That missile is effectively dead on launch when it comes off the rail. Unless it's fired from really high, which is only 16,000 feet. That missile's dead. There's no way that it's reaching its target. Excuse me. Buster Wolf, thanks for the follow. Hopefully you enjoy the show, buddy. That ER is effectively dead, guys. I'd really like to see, and we talk about this every week, the missiles coming in and fired later. 51st, when I flew last week, we were just as guilty. A lot of it is the nerves. With firing too early, you think, hey, this missile might get him, but you're flying against some of the best pilots in the world, so they're going to respect those shots, and they're going to fly, you know, even if they just serpentine, that missile's going to be effectively dead, and it's not going to do anything. So Drona, down here to the south, with Vertical Charlie and Skinner, are all starting to press, and we could see our first real engagement here. Skinner foxing an ER onto 552. 552 responds with a 120B. That ER is going to be a problem. That's going to have a lot of energy by the time it reaches him. I think he just launched. Oh, he did get hit. He does get hit. So we're down to a 5v5. That's the first splash coming from on the inSKY side. And Drona, I'm worried that he's going to get in here too deep. So we've got Vertical Charlie pressing on 1155 with an ER 120B in response. So that 120B is going to force Vertical Charlie to break his lock. I don't think that's going to be a threat. Drona wisely doesn't get in too deep, realizes that he doesn't have any support, and turns cold. That 120B's out of energy. But you see how those 120Bs, it forced Vertical Charlie, even though his ER had the energy advantage, it forced Vertical Charlie because he has to respect that missile to break his lock and turn cold. Yes, there are ways to serpentine and stuff, but a lot of these pilots are going to fly more conservative approaches here. Instead of risking and staying hot, they're just going to turn cold and save it for a better day. We see another ER coming from Top Gun. Again, that's foxed on a cold Bandit. That's never going to reach. Looks like the teams are regrouping. 2 here in the center from ITGC. We could see an engagement up here to the north with Top Gun against 1821. Vertical Charlie and Drona are both recommitting down here to the south. And Stiglitz looks to be finally getting into the game coming out of the west. He's pressing inSKY 800. Is he going to press too far? Is he going to stay with his team? He's got to watch out for 925 here out of the south. Vertical Charlie is continuing to press while Drona has turned cold. Here comes the ET. Now, will 1155 see that ET? Since it's an ET, Vertical Charlie doesn't have to worry about guiding that missile onto target. He can safely evade that 120B, but it looks like 1155 is respecting that there could be an ET coming his way and turn cold. This is really hard to see. Sadly down, we're down to 4. I think I missed one of the inSKY guys getting splashed. Watch Stiglitz. He's defending a 120B. That missile should be dead. 925 turns cold with 800 keeping the press on Stiglitz. Stiglitz has again isolated himself, but instead of being back here, he is now isolated with 2 inSKY opponents. Now, I'd like to see him drag to the northeast into his friendly of Drona to get some support and get some help. Top Gun here, I'm assuming it was him that splashed 1821, is now pressing 1155 with support from Skinner and Vertical Charlie. This separation, though, could be a bit problematic. That's almost 16 nautical miles, but I think Top Gun here, he's got the drop on 1155. This could be a problem. There goes his 77, or I'm sorry, his 73. That's going to be an issue, and he does get hit. Now, Top Gun, does he know 1823's down here? Stiglitz wisely turned cold. Top Gun does turn cold. He's dragging into Skinner. What's Skinner see here? He's head on. I don't see any missile launches coming from 1823 here. He broke the lock. He's behind the hill. ET coming on 925 down here to the south. That could be a threat. Nah, it's dead. He's respecting the ET that could be there and is now turning cold. Well, I say that, and that ET's probably dead. Oh, 120B could be problematic. Didn't even see that coming in from inSKY. I don't see any chaff. Can he get into a notch? Not in time. So that 120B fired from 925 does take him down. We've got a merge coming from 1823 and Skinner. There goes the aim 9. No flares. He didn't see it. So there's a splash. And he breaks up. Fox is another one for good measure. So we've got 1823 taking down Skinner up here to the north. And I'm sorry I missed this engagement down here to the south. But we see inSKY taking down what looks to be Drona and Stiglitz down here in the south. So we're down to a 3v2. inSKY was at a numerical pilot disadvantage here coming into the later part of this round, but it looks like they've turned it around. We're down to a 3v2. inSKY's advantage, 800, 925, and 1823 remaining for inSKY. Vertical Charlie and Top Gun remaining for ITGC. I'd like to see Vertical Charlie and Top Gun regroup here to the north, while inSKY 925 and 1823 regroup down here to the south. I don't think either of those things are going to happen. We got a significant separation between Vertical Charlie and Top Gun of 11 nautical miles, roughly 20 kilometers. There's not going to be any mutual support unless we see a bag and drag here, or a dragon bag, which we do see some respect coming from Vertical Charlie. Again, this is what I'd like to see, but that R-77 was fired from outside 10 kilometers on a cold bandit. I don't see that hitting him at all. Boring music. Come on, give me some new music. Stop playing the same stuff. ET coming from Top Gun with a 120B coming in exchange from 925. Neither of those missiles are going to hit because both of these pilots are playing conservatively. But we do see 1823 recommitting out of the east onto Top Gun. What's his angels? Where's he flying? He's over Mach 1. Coming down from 16,000 feet. He's got the drop on Top Gun. Does he have the airspeed advantage? He has a significant airspeed advantage. So if he maintains this press, Top Gun's going to be in a lot of trouble. Looks like Top Gun realizes this and he's now recommitting on 1823. That R-77, if he flies into that, that could be trouble. That could be a lot of trouble. He's not doing anything. No defensive maneuvers, nothing. Didn't have the energy to do anything. So we do see a merge coming here between these two pilots from ITGC and Top Gun. He is really slow. Did you see how slow? Holy crap. He got really slow. But it looks like he stalled out. Did he stall out? Looks like he stalled out. Yeah, he got taken down. Or if that was, maybe I just didn't see the back of his plane. But he was really slow. He effectively notched any radar missiles coming in because of his airspeed. But guys, I'm not sure if he got hit there and that was the reason for his low airspeed, but we do see a trade there coming with ITGC and inSKY, both pilots going down. So we're down for 2v1, 1925 and 800 versus Vertical Charlie. He could be in trouble. He's got to defend. Looks like the inSKY guy is able to defend that. I don't see anything coming. Oh. Is he going to get splashed? I saw that missile coming and he's able to defend that too. Vertical Charlie's on a tear. He's on a tear. We got a merge coming out from Vertical Charlie. I think that was 925. And it was 800. So we're still down to a 1v2. Vertical Charlie is pulling all the tricks out of the book. He's defending everything. Vertical Charlie's at a pretty big disadvantage though here. He's in a merge with 800 while 925's coming out of the south. So this could be a problem. That aim 7 could be problematic. And indeed, it does take him down. So reviewing that last engagement there, he got himself into a merge. Awesome job defending that engagement coming. He was defending missiles from multiple bandits. But because he got into the merge, he had to respect the merge, defend the merge. So he wasn't able to respect and defend the bandit coming in to the engagement. Hell of an engagement. Just unfortunate that it ended that quickly. But again, guys, you're in the merge. You got to respect it. You can't really, when you're in these Gen 4 fighters, you can't just say, whatever. I'm going to blow through this merge unless you have a significant airspeed advantage, which Vertical Charlie did not, at least not that I saw. You got to respect it. Otherwise, the guy you're merged with is just going to turn around, put an IR missile or radar-guided missile right up your tailpipe. Let's watch these guys RTB to Sanaki. I saw him jettison weapons, so they may be low on fuel. He's flying at 80% RPM, so indeed he could be low on fuel here. Have to see. What's going on here? He's at 90. So 925. He may be in trouble as far as fuel goes. He's still sitting about 80% RPM. Is he gonna make it back? And remember, guys, we still got to deal with the rain and the wind coming back down through the clouds. So this isn't a walk in the park. This isn't a gimme as these guys RTB. Marco says that ending was intense. Yeah, that match went from 0 to 100 real quick. I am parched, so I will be taking a drink here shortly. Cool. The match may have turned out a little bit different had Cougar not disconnected. Unfortunately, that's just something we have to deal with when it comes to these games. Let me check something, guys. I gotta check what the hell is going on with my music. OBS, music, victory. We're just watching these guys RTB. You get a drink here. Man, that sounds good. Even though it's using the Su-25 Frogfoot sounds, it sounds okay. At least externally. So chat, what do you think could have been done differently in that engagement? What do you think could have been done to maybe turn the tides? What could ITGC or inSKY done better in your guys' opinion? I want to have a conversation about this. My biggest thing, as I always talk about, I do week after week, is shape. The shape for ITGC going into this engagement at the beginning was decent. It was okay. But the shape broke down, which makes it really difficult to provide mutual support. When you're separated, especially like what happened in that last engagement, where you had Vertical Charlie and I can't remember who was with him. They were separated by 11 nautical miles, and because of that, if your buddy gets in trouble, with how missiles are in DCS, you can't provide the mutual support to help if he gets into an engagement. You're too far away. So it's really important to make sure that if you do want that spacing between the flight elements, that you put just enough spacing that you can still provide support to your wingman. Now, inSKY, I don't know what happened with inSKY. Their shape as they entered the engagement wasn't really there. So I'd like to see more shape, more mutual support coming from both teams. Dose! Thanks for the cheer, buddy. Thank you, thank you. Osbornex says they could have converged on the one inSKY guy running from the other two IGC guys and then make it a 1v2. That is very true. It's really important to capitalize on the advantages that you have. Now, I say that, but we have to remember, and I don't know that I mentioned this to the stream, that we're not able to use LOT ATC at this point. So you have a very limited amount of situational awareness going on right now inside the cockpit. If they had LOT ATC, we may have been able to see a better capitalization on the isolation of flight elements. I need to increase engine noise with the F-15. It looks like he indeed does lose his engine. Looks like he's got a flame out on his right engine. At least I'm pretty sure that's his right engine. You guys will probably correct me which engine goes down first, but he's got a flame out, so he is out of fuel. And I don't think he's going to make it back. He's not high enough. He's Angels high enough. He's Angels 14. I don't think he's going to make it back. He's still got 51 nautical miles, roughly 90 kilometers to get back, and I don't see it happening. He's still cruising. Who is this? 800 is still cruising at 80%. He was at 90, so he could be getting low on fuel. We'll just have to see. Are they going to make it back? Are we going to need to see another round? What's going on? I don't know why he's got flaps down, Ghosts. That's a good question. Some people may think the increased amount of lift may help with the... I don't even know if it's increased amount of lift. It depends on your airspeed. He's still really slow. I think it may be indicative of his airspeed. But I would have liked to see him climb higher while he had more fuel. Because if you get to something like Angels, I don't know, 40, 35, you can glide a significant amount of distance when you don't have fuel. Let's keep track of 800. I'm going to write 925 off. He's out of fuel. So I'm going to write him off and see what happens here. 800, still looking pretty. Still rocking 81% engine RPM. About 350 knots. And just a reminder to everybody that's new to SATAL, these guys have to land. Now, ITGC could say, no, we don't need you to land. But given the weather conditions, and like Vertical Charlie said, they do want them to RTB. So the rules of SATAL, you have to get one pilot back unless the other team says that you don't have to. You have to get somebody back alive. Land and not crash. Ghost, do you mind elaborating? I don't quite understand your last comment. Still rocking 81% engine RPM. He's getting closer. We're down to 22 nautical miles, so he's got the fuel. I'd like to see him higher unless he has enough fuel to make it back without any problem. He's still at only Angels 10. Ghost, yeah. Yeah, you do. I agree with that. So Ghost says, if you understand the quirks in your approach is pre-planned, you use the Eagle's ILS for your RTB. Yeah, you do, but I just would have liked to see him 925 get higher because he could have made it back. He had enough time. If he had the altitude, he would have made it back. He's still got one engine. He's still rocking. He's still staying up there, 85%. So we're down to 14 nautical miles. He will not have a GCI to give him talk on, so he's going to have to do this by the seat of his pants. Luckily, in the J11 with your data link, you do know where the airfield is, so he can get a rough idea when he comes through the clouds of where he is in respects to the airfield. Using the data link, he could be using ILS or Instruments approach. Ghost, you're exactly right. He says for the Eagle, it's milk power, climb to a high as you can, and then glide at 220 knots. Yep. Use that altitude energy to maintain 220 knots, and that'll give you the, as far as I know, the best distance that you possibly can, which in the flanker, you're more than capable of doing it from 100 kilometers. As long as you're high enough. Toast, that's a good question. I don't know. The problem with that, and we'd like to, but the problem with that is it's a paid asset, so we'll have to see how many people end up getting it, what the community response is to it. Osborne X, it's stormy, so not only is there a low cloud deck, there's fog in the mountains, but there is a high amount of wind. So we're going to watch him come through. He shouldn't hit the ground. He's coming through the clouds now. Should be turning on to approach. Coming off base. What's he doing? Maybe he's going to do an overhead. Looks like he's just going to do a straight in here. Rain's doing some weird stuff. Not sure why the rain's doing that. Alright, so let's... grab Sanaki, watch this guy's approach. We can see him. Sorry about the rain, guys. It's just... I don't know what's going on. Doing some weird stuff. Ignore that for now. We saw the wind pushing him around on takeoff, so there's a significant amount of crosswind. I think he'll be okay. He looks like kind of cockeyed right now. He's a little off. I think he's got it. Yeah, he's got it. Now, is he going to be able to stop? Stop. Don't go off the runway. Don't die. So we do see inSKY clutch it at the end. With 800 putting it down. We'll go to round 2. So just give me a minute, guys. We'll get the server restarted. And we'll get round 2 underway. So I got a question for you guys while we're waiting on this. What exactly could be the problem if every time we load a mission on our server, well, not every time, but most of the time after we run a match, the server will crash until I run a repair? Does anybody have any idea what's causing that? Because I sure as hell don't. I can get it to work after I run the repair most of the time. Most of the time. But it's pretty consistent in its behavior. New server. Just bringing the server back up. inSKY. Come on, let's work. Make it work. While we're waiting, I'm going to ask another question from you guys in chat. We've talked about it briefly in the past. What is everybody's notions on adding tidbits of comms to the casting of SATAL? Meaning, it's going to be like Formula 1 or NASCAR, where you're not going to hear the comms all the time. It just allows the caster, me, the ability to listening to teams' comms, like on ingress into the AO, or during a merge, so you can get into the cockpit and feel what these guys are feeling. It won't be isolated to a specific pilot, it would be the entire team, but how does everybody feel about that? Billy Wah! Thanks for the sub, buddy. Much appreciated. Hopefully you enjoy the show. I'll take another drink here. Toast, the TAC feed's not working. I'm a one-man show today, so I can't do everything. That's... Toast says second channel TAC view is not working, just so I know. Yeah, I haven't had time to get it all set up yet. It's something I want to do, but somebody's got to be able to control it to make sure everything's centered and all that jazz. So it's just something I haven't quite done yet. So we watched ITGC depart last time. We will watch inSKY depart this time. Billy Watt, thanks, buddy. Much appreciated. Hopefully we can get the competitive community going and purring. And yeah, hopefully it grows the community as a whole for DCS. I just enjoy doing it. Living in DCS, Osborne X says, imagine if you woke up and then had to stutter around for 10 minutes until all the textures and everything were loaded into RAM. Or however DCS does it. I know my fair bit, but I don't know the nitty-gritty like a lot of you guys do. Waiting for everybody to get in the server. Waiting on one guy from ITGC. We've got all 6 from inSKY. Vertical Charlie's on the very limit of ping. Interviews, huh? It's not a bad idea. Like short interviews like they do in Counter-Strike with the players. I may be able to do that. Just gotta find the time for it. And the pilots also have to be open for it. Oh! Where did it take me? Why am I all the way up here? It's very bright. There's the airfield. Wonder why it put me all the way up there. slow down. Somebody is trying to get a hold of me. TeamSpeak seems to have taken a dump. Hold on, guys, while I redo some stuff.
Connected. Channel switched. User was moved to your channel.
Hey, Rach. Toast says, or you can ask a pilot from the next week to come on this week's show and talk about where they are from and how long they've been flying and stuff like that. It's a good idea. I just got to get it organized. Not bad. Might be able to do that. Where am I looking? Where am I looking? Where am I looking? They're over there. So to highlight and to reiterate here, I'd like to see more organization from both teams on the approaches to the engagement, on the ingresses, and during the engagement. We hit on this every week, and it's really, really hard to do. So I don't want to feel like I'm harping or I'm saying something that's really easy and everybody should do this. It is really difficult to do, guys. It's one thing to fly by yourself, but to have the situational awareness and teamwork and stuff to stay together as a cohesive unit. This is really annoying. I need to work on my music. I don't know why it's doing this stupid stuff. Foobar is not behaving correctly how I want it to. But anyway, back to what we were doing. What I was talking about. It's really difficult to maintain shape and spacing and stuff on the ingress and during an engagement. So again, I don't want this to sound like I'm harping or making it sound like this is something that it's a given and everybody should do. Yeah, they should do it, but it's really hard to do. It takes a lot of practice, a lot of trust with your teammates, and a lot of flying. No, Missy. Sorry, dog's licking me. This is better. Songs we haven't heard before. I don't know why Foobar does that. It like freaks out and doesn't know what it wants when it for music. Maybe I need another music player. Anybody have another music player that we can do? That will, I can use a hotkey to launch playlists, but it'll just stay in one window, so they don't play over each other. Sorry, Mauser. It's playing a lot of the same music a lot. I don't know why. So, is everybody home? Is everybody here? Everybody's here. Attack view would be nice. I mean, it does help. And like us in this 51st, we review our attack views in a debrief after every mission. Every match, every round. Well, every match. We don't do it between rounds. Attack view is a pivotal tool in making all this stuff happen. It's because I'm not talking on TeamSpeak, Rage. Sounds like inSKY's spooling up. inSKY looks to be taxiing now. Rage, I can talk in TeamSpeak. I just... You weren't saying anything when I asked stuff earlier. That's why I haven't been talking.
Okay, got it. Anyway, I'm in now.
Good. And chat, let me know if our volumes are good. Am I even with Rage? I thought I was going to be doing this by myself, so have to see what happens. Rage, we talked about earlier, and for those of you guys that don't know, this is 51st Rage, flies for the 51st Bisons. I'm in a squadron with him, and he asked if I wanted a commentator, so he dropped in. So, Rage, we talked about it a couple times already, but what would you like to see done differently or better or worse with both teams during the last engagement?
Well, I think ITGC were very unlucky to lose a pilot due to disconnect, but they turned it around and they managed to get 2 kills, but they just couldn't consolidate. You know, they had the numerical advantage at that point, but they still put pilots in 1v1 situations, so they lost a couple of guys that way. I would have loved to have seen them get the advantage, regroup, and just push together. But it's hard, you know, they don't have a lot of ATC, so that's a shame. With regards to inSKY, you know, you could tell from the start they were playing a very defensive game. You know, I don't think any of them foxed in the initial pass. Okay, but I think that leaves you open to an aggressive play, and if you lose 1 or 2 guys and you're not pushing, then you can get pushed out of the bubble that way. But you know, saying that they still won the round, they were able to make up for those early losses.
So what would you like to see both teams do during this round that was maybe lacking or needs improving during the previous?
Honestly, I think I'll be surprised if inSKY get very aggressive. I think they like to fly defensive. So I'd like from inSKY to, if they're going to do that, to support each other a little bit more. And out of ITGC, I think I'd like them to be more aggressive. Actually, you know, if they know that, if they see that inSKY are being that defensive, I would like to see them really, you know, push them to the edge of the bubble and you know, mess up their rhythm. That's what I would do, or try to do. But it's hard. You know, it's easy for us to say that, you know, with the F10.
Right, as commentators, and people just viewing it from as a third party. Yeah, it's really easy to say stuff like that when we're not flying in the pit.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you know, we've got the benefit of F10, we've got externals, we know what the missiles are like and how much energy they have, so it's easy for us. But yeah, I mean, it's doable. We just gotta practice communicating with your wingman and just give each other all the same picture.
So Flame asks why they're not using Light ATC. Flame, the reason is there's an issue with Light ATC in the current version. I think it's 2.5.2 of the open beta, where every time you try and load a mission, if you have Light ATC installed on the server, it just crashes. So due to that, we disabled Light ATC for the time being in order to get everything working. Mauser, yeah, DCS World Events 2 is offline because I've been a one-man show today and I haven't had the ability to run the TAC view. It's coming at some point. Just haven't had time to set it up and get somebody to be able to run it. Just watching inSKY here, taxi out of Makeup. Looks like there are 4 F-15s and 2 J-11s. Did they run the same setup last time, or was it a singleton J-11?
No, it was a singleton. We'd better actually tell them that before they take off, if they are. Yeah, I'm seeing 2 J-11s, so this could be an infringement like we had before. So better let them know. Yeah, good spot. That could have been a problem later.
Yeah, I'd rather them not make the same snafu that we did last week.
Yep. Well, technically last week we downgraded, but, you know, it's still us.
Yeah, but still gotta adhere to the rules.
Of course.
Sorry guys, just trying to get some stuff ironed out with the rules and things of that nature. For those of you that are unfamiliar, there's a current rule in SATAL that if you start a round or start a match with a certain lineup, you have to maintain that lineup of aircraft through the entire match. And what that means...
Yeah, I don't think they're getting it. I think they can just swap the pilots, but the airframes have to be the same.
So back to what I was saying. If you start a round or match with, let's say, 6 F-15s, then you swap pilots after round 1, you have to then maintain those 6 F-15s. And there's a reason for this rule, just so people can't, you know, swap aircraft to give them some type of advantage once they see what the other team's flying, so on and so forth. But us in 51st got into trouble last week because we flew Su-27 in the first round, and then they switched it to the J-11 in the second round. So we're just getting inSKY to switch here so we don't have a rule infraction and they don't have to forfeit this round. Looks like it's been corrected. inSKY 155 is now reslotting into what I assume is an F-15. Osborne, so that may be the case. Oh, looks like they're all going to taxi again. So, Rage, while we got some downtime, do you want to talk about how the brackets and stuff will be set up for the in-game tournament?
Yeah, so we said, let's see here, that we would have... Hold on, DCS is reloading for some reason for me. We said we'd have 4 teams qualify from each group, so that's 4 from Group A, 4 from Group B. Depending on where they rank in each group, that'll be, you know, either 1, 2, 3, or 4, that they'll be seeded appropriately. So the winner of Group A and the winner of Group B automatically get put into the semi-final, bracket. Number 2 goes into the quarterfinal, and then the 3rd and 4th place guys have to play off against each other, and the winner of that plays against the runner-up in those groups. So it's posted on the Discord, and it's posted on ED. But it's just a way of seeding it so that where you actually stand in the group the end affects your seeding. So there is always something to play for. Otherwise we would just have, you know, 2 playoffs in each group, and it wouldn't really matter where you stood. So I think it's better that way. So yeah, everything to play for, guys. You know, every point counts.
Osbornex, the current song is the theme to Pacific Rim. So what teams do you know off the top of your head that are currently on the bubble? Granted, we're only about halfway through the season.
So in our group, I know that we're looking pretty strong. Torha looking pretty strong as well. So I'd be very surprised if they didn't qualify. It's still pretty close, I would say, between the other teams. There's some who've had wins and losses alternately. It's going to be pretty close, I imagine, between Chinese Festival and the one at 4th. I think they're playing in a couple of weeks' time. That's going to be an important game for both of them, because that's going to dictate where they sit, either in 3rd or 4th or 5th place. So that's going to be an exciting game to watch. With regards to Group B, I know that SF and RVE are sitting pretty strong. I think they both have 2 wins. But like I said, you know, there's 4 qualifying from each group, so still a lot to play for. Here. Yeah,
Just
it looks like inSKY are still, yeah, taxing.
Now is ITGC ready? I'm assuming they're still sitting on the runway. I've just been watching inSKY as they get ready up here at Meka.
Yeah, they've spooled down now, which is sensible, I guess, since they're waiting. See what they have. So ITGC, so lead is taking only 2 77s. Why does it do that? Why does it go to AWACS all the time?
I don't know. Wish you could disable that.
Yeah, it deafens my ears. A lot of them are taking a mixed loadout of 77s, ETs, and ERs. Interesting.
What I noticed in round 1 is some of them were only taking 1 ET.
Yeah. I don't know. Normally I'd say I'd only take 177, just put it in the center, because then you have a symmetrical loadout. But it often takes 2 77s to down an F-15 because of, you know, damage model reasons. So sometimes one just doesn't do anything; it just bounces off. So you're sort of obliged to take 2 in that case. Question is, do you take 2 with 4 ERs, or do you spread it out with the 2 ERs, 2 ETs, and 2 77s?
Now, one thing I did notice after the 2.5.2 patch is, at least in this matchup, because I haven't flown since the patch came out, any plane that was hit died. There wasn't anybody taking more than 1 hit. There wasn't anybody, you know, eating 120s or AIM-9s or 73s. If you got hit, your wings blew off and then you ended up in the dirt. So I don't know if there was a change made in the actual damage model for the aircraft or whatever is causing these problems, but from what I've seen in this given matchup, and chat, you can weigh in here too for what you've seen in all my multiplayer and single player, has there been any type of change? I'm just showing what I've seen seen in SATAL. But Rage Flame also has a question, and he says, what is the most competitive team in SATAL to 51st? The one that we don't want to face, that 51st doesn't want to face early.
It's kind of a politically charged question.
Well, you can give more than one answer there.
Traditionally, we've always had a healthy rivalry with the 104th. So that's always a tense match for us. SF are very strong. For obvious reasons, you know, they fly F-15s. They're a sort of a pretty coherent bunch when it comes to their tactics and their sort of individual skill as well. But then you've got outliers as well, you know. Just can't get complacent, you know. Especially if you're flying against active missiles, you know, once that missile's off the rail and it's kinetically got the energy to get to you, you're fighting the missile then. So you can't get complacent against any team really. But I would say, you know, 104 SF, RVE, you know, they have a recent resurgence. They're doing very well. So yeah, there's a couple of good teams out there. We haven't flown against the Chinese, I don't think, either inSKY or Chinese Festival. So that's kind of an unknown. But those would be my top 2 picks, I guess. Top 2 or 3 picks.
Nubs Cockpit asks if we're starting the second round. Yes. This is the very beginning of the second round. We had a slight delay with the aircraft selection and making sure that there was no rules violations, but we've gotten that fixed up. And we're now underway on the start of round 2. inSKY versus ITGC. inSKY is up 1-0 with a very exciting round 1.
ITGC are taking a slightly different shape, I guess, this time around. There's 5 of them in trail and 1 guy on the outside. Kind of an odd way to take off, but could be a different formation they're trying. Taking off in trail. Actually, no, it looks to be the same. They're taking off as a 3-ship ITGC, and the second 3 are going for a delayed takeoff. Whereas I see the inSKY guys are all pretty much still together.
Yeah.
Although they tend to need to charge with 895. I think I did that last round as well. Put those 2 guys up front.
I couldn't make out the initial game plan for what inSKY was trying to do with their ingressing formation. They had the lead singleton 2 ships that were separated by something like 15 nautical miles, and then a 4 ship that then went hot and then turned cold, and effectively on the first pass they broke up into 2 3 ships. And I was trying to make sense of what was going on, but I couldn't figure it out. I mean, there could have been obviously a plan that was being executed that I just didn't see. I just couldn't figure it out for myself.
Well, I guess the lead 2 guys, they were just there to bait missiles. And they didn't fire anything.
That was my assumption.
Yeah, they just baiting missiles and trying to get their opponents to waste fuel, I guess. And it kind of worked because I saw a lot of long launches. I mean, long launches are great if the guy coming at you is hot and high and you're also sort of 40,000 feet and doing Mach 1+. But you know, if you're kind of medium altitude and the guy isn't really committed on you, then that's kind of a wasted missile, in my opinion. Anyway, second 3 ship of ITGC are taken up. So that would leave them with probably about a 25 to 30 click separation between the lead 3 ship and the second.
Vertical Charlie actually does not have any ETs.
No.
There was one ET on Cougar.
It's a man of my own heart. They're useless.
One ET in 377s coming on Top Gun. But I don't know how useless they are in this particular engagement, Rage, with the cloud cover and being able to shoot through clouds, or, you know, they have a place.
Yeah, true, I guess. I'm just always disappointed in them, but occasionally they work. But, you know, the cloud level here is a little bit low, I would say, so it's a bit dangerous to get below it. You know, you can lawn dart quite easily. But ITGC are taking a northerly offset, not going straight to bulls.
Separation looks to be 115 nautical miles. Still quite separated. Last time we did start to see our first Foxes at something like 27 to 30 nautical miles, which was crazy long. But like I've said before, a lot of that, in my honest opinion, has to do with nerves. You know, people, especially once people see the first Fox, they're like, oh, I can do it too. And they get their hopes up that these missiles are going to do things, but by the time they reach their targets, they've either already crashed in the ground or they're just gliders at that point with no energy to maneuver.
So it's a long trail here inSKY. All 6 of them.
This is kind of what we saw last time with 925 and 800 leading the way as singletons with that grouped up 4-ship, which effectively was in a trail, trailing behind. While ITGC looks to be in 2 3-ships with a spread of 16 nautical miles. Separation between teams is now down to 100 miles. Looks to be the same type of ingress here that we saw last time, where inSKY takes a direct approach to ITGC, and ITGC, if I could speak, takes that offset slightly to drag last time the engagement further to the south, this time further to the north.
Yeah, I wonder if they're going to try and keep that flank up, or are they just going to turn into bullseye?
Well, last time they just turned in.
Yeah.
I don't know what the purpose of it is. Maybe they're just trying to form up with the trail 3 ships so they can both turn in together.
Yeah, I guess they could come in and sort of they'd be spread like that. But I wonder, I'd like to see them, well, I guess the northern group of them take a more northerly offset and then try and drag inSKY towards them, and then maybe have a sort of a flanking maneuver coming from the southern guys. That would be interesting to see. It would kind of disrupt their normal hot-cold axis for inSKY. It could have changed the headings. Yeah, it looks like they're turning straight to bullseye now.
Separation's down to 70 nautical miles. Separation between the ITGC elements is 20 nautical miles now, and inSKY 800 is isolated by himself for 6 miles from 925, and 925 from the trailing 4-ship by 4. So there's a decent amount of separation. I think what you said earlier, we're going to see the same thing out of 800 and 925 like we did last time, where they're just going to bait the missiles coming from ITGC, try and lower their weapon stores, and then turn cold, rejoin with the trailing 4-ship, and recommit at a wall.
Yeah, you see, if that were me and I could see that happening, I wouldn't defend after the, you know, I would launch on them, I'd see them go cold, I'd drop a crank, and I would just push in with with my second 3 ship as well, and just put them really under pressure.
ITGC, their first 3 ship is now breaking up in what looks to be a wall. Drona leading the way with Skinner and Stiglitz flanking him off to his left and right. And then it looks like Vertical Charlie leads the way of the second 3 ship with Top Gun and Cougar. They should be turning in here momentarily and will break up in what I can assume is the same formation in a 3 ship wall. Separation for the teams is now down to 45 miles. 800 and 925 are still pretty well isolated, while the Trail 4 ship is now taking a southerly offset and becoming more separated from 925 and 800.
Yeah, and I'm seeing 1823 here turn cold.
This is what they did last time, and I'm not entirely sure.
And 155
of the
as
reason.
well.
Maybe they're just trying to get separated here.
Well, they're just staying very, very deep. You know, they like to be very defensively minded like that.
Second 3 ship for ITGC is now separating.
Yeah.
Separation between the teams is down to 23 miles. Should be seeing our first Foxes here anytime. And it looks like the trailing 4 ship is now broken up into 2 ships.
Yeah, they're forming a box. So here we are, first. Yep.
2 Foxes coming from Drona and Stiglitz at a distance of 15 nautical miles. And as soon as 800 gets that launch warning, he turns cold immediately.
Yeah, but you see, I see both
Morph
they're launching at the same
Thanks for the follow,
time.
buddy. Hopefully you're enjoying the show.
Well, I'm not sure, maybe.
Pause, Kurt.
But,
Same with you.
You know he's going to go cold. One's enough.
I think it was 1 on each one of them.
Yeah, actually, yeah, you're right. See it turning
Both
now.
800 and 925 have both turned cold. And this is what you said last time. You'd like what you would do. You'd maintain the hot aspect, and that looks to be
so
what
just,
Drona and Stiglitz are both doing.
Yeah, so just leave 895 alone and resort on 552 and 1155. And you got backup from Skinner as well. So yeah, they're staying hot, which is good. And you can see as well, look, straight away, 552 turns cold. There's not even a missile in the air. He just decides that's enough closure.
Here comes an ET coming from Drona, 11 nautical miles. That's well within range to be effective. But as soon as 1155 sees that, he gets into a notch and then turns cold.
Yeah. There we are. So I like, you know, this is kind of playing out how we kind of expected. inSKY being very defensive, our ITGC pushing in a little bit. Well, it looks like they're extending now. But you know, I'm seeing here 5 inSKY pilots all cold. You know, ITGC should be pushing the advantage.
And this is what we talked about briefly last time. We need to capitalize on these advantages. You've got 155 isolated down here to the south.
And you got all of them cold. All of them are cold.
Right.
Got to push in.
Like to see Drona and Skinner and Stiglitz recommit here.
Yeah. I mean, they're keeping their shape. They're trying to get back in with their back 3 line, but it's predictable that this was going to happen. I mean, imagine if they were all hot, and it would almost be game over. They just push them out of the bubble, keep them under pressure.
See 800 up here for inSKY, the first to recommit. It's like they're recommitting into a line or a single line grinder formation.
Yeah, one by one. That's the game plan. They're sticking to it. So credit goes to them for that. You see, look, 800 first, then 925. One by one, they're going to be recommitting and just doing the same thing again, just draining ITGC of missiles, waiting them out, waiting for them to make a mistake and get isolated, and then pounce on them.
So we've got 3 hot now, 552, 1823, sorry, 4 hot, 925, and 800. 800 leading the way. Here comes an ET out of 800. Long Fox, 12 nautical miles.
Yep.
Live Sim, thanks for the follow, buddy. Hopefully you're enjoying the show.
Public doesn't see it, but I don't think it's dangerous.
Yeah, but I think he's respecting it. I think he might see it now. He's turning cold.
Aim 120B out of 552, but it's on a cold bandit at 20
Yeah,
clicks.
it's not no way that's going to catch him. And then you see Cougar putting an ER on what was a notching now cold 925. ER coming from Vertical Charlie and what I assume is 552. So again, I think this is nerves getting to the pilots. A lot of these missiles are being foxed on bandits that, unless they're using them as a defensive measure to keep a bandit cold, there is no way that missile is going to be a threat to the missile to the bandit that it's being foxed on.
He has put them defensive. They're all cold again. So they can push. They really have to push now.
Now look at the range that this R-77 is being foxed on. 15 nautical miles on a cold bandit. From Top Gun.
Yeah, A120B on Cougar. Could be dangerous. 18 clicks.
That could be dangerous.
He's diving.
Looks like he's respecting it, turning cold. Yeah, that missile's going to run out of energy. So now we see again, almost everybody from inSKY
biding their time, putting out a couple of launches,
extending,
but staying very defensive.
Again, we only see the hot guy 155 is the only one hot coming from inSKY.
Yeah.
We do see another recommit from 800, and it looks like 1823 is thinking about it. No, he is recommitting. So we've got a 3-ship recommitting and a 3-ship still cold coming from inSKY, while we have 3 hot and 3 cold from ITGC. So this time, I will give kudos to ITGC. They are maintaining their shape way better this round than they did in the previous round. They're staying together. They're staying in shape. Their situational awareness seems to be spot on. I'd like to see their missiles on who they're foxing on and when be a little more disciplined, but the shape that they're maintaining is
really good, yeah.
Hands above what was going on in round 1. So we see an ER coming from Skinner. That's close enough to be a possible threat. 13 nautical miles, or about 25 kilometers, while Drona is maintaining, but immediately, like we've seen in the past, 155 is immediately turning cold. And the same goes for 1823.
Yeah.
So they're not even giving ITGC his chance. As soon as they get that launch warning, split S, get the hell out of there and turn cold. Live to fight another day. But like you said earlier, we're going to keep talking about it. You said you'd keep the press on, and we're seeing the press maintained from Skinner and Drona. And this is what can happen when you turn cold immediately and don't put a credible threat on the bandits that are foxing you. So we see 155 and 1823 turn cold, but there was no missiles fired in exchange. So Drona and Skinner are able to maintain a hot aspect in on those two bandits. We do see 1155 and 552 coming back into support. And we see an ET fired from Drona onto 1155, who immediately turns cold, so that ET is effectively dead. Drona looks to be getting that launch warning from that 120B, and he's turned cold. And I do see one of the bandits has crashed or disconnected. I saw Vertical Charlie disconnect too, so I saw one from inSKY and one from ITGC, so we're down to effectively a 5v5.
Yeah, Skinner got...
Oh, sorry. The inSKY guy got hit by an ER.
Yeah, he got hit, but fortunately, Vertical Charlie disconnected, which is unfortunate again. Shame to lose a pilot like that.
But we are still down to even teams, 5 for inSKY and 5 for ITGC. So we'll mark that as effectively a trade in that given scenario. Could see our first closer engagement between 925 and Cougar, and possibly 1823 in Top Gun. We see an ER coming from Cougar. It's close enough to be dangerous at 12 miles, but again, immediately 925 turns cold to run to his mutual support of 800. 120B puts a... Sorry, 1823 puts a 120B on Top Gun, who fires an ER in exchange. He's got to respect that 120B. It was fired from quite a distance, so it's probably not going to have any energy. And that ER, again, we talk about the discipline, is fired on a bandit that looks to be extending. There's no reason to shoot that unless you're just trying to put the bandit defensive.
ITGCs are looking more compact in the south here. They've got
They are.
Ship, which is supporting each other, and you've got Stiglitz and Cougar further east.
I mean,
Tied as well.
we're seeing mirrors from inSKY and ITG's 3v3 and a 2v2. And it looks like ITGC Top Gun crashed somehow. I missed what happened. He may have lawn darted or something in that particular situation, but they've lost a pilot in a situation where I'm not really sure what happened. So we're down to a 4v5, 5 for inSKY and 4 for ITGC. Rage, do you mind writing a message and getting the inSKY guys to disconnect, please? AIM-120B coming from 1823 on Skinner, who's already cold. And it looks to me we've got Drona defending a 120B. That ET, again, fired on a cold bandit. There is no way that missile is going to reach its target. Cougar maintaining the press. Looks to be like he's on 155. .77 coming from Drona. That's a long fox for a 77 at 11 miles, but it puts 155 cold. We see 1823 recommitting and turning back in on the press. We've got a flanking maneuver coming from 800 on possibly Cougar, Skinner, or Drona, with Stiglitz isolated by himself out here to the east. He may be taking the press on 800, but we also have 925 coming here out of the north. These engagements... Go ahead.
I'm seeing 1823 and 800 relatively unsupported here. If ITGC can just, put 2 people on each, they'd have a good chance of equalizing again. Merge here with Cougar and 1823.
See Cougar putting a fox on 1823. There goes the AIM-9 in exchange. He's got a flare! And he does get away from that. I don't know if his missile hit the 15 or not, but both planes get away from that unscathed.
He just bounced off him, I'm afraid. What did I say about 277s?
So we've got 1823 sandwiched between Cougar and Drona with a 2-ship from inSKY of 1155 and 155 up here to the north. And Skinner may be getting into a merge. He's defending a 120B up here to the north from 925. Is he going to be able to defend that? That thing's got a lot of energy. He may get it into the notch. He may get it line of sight. Looks like he does get away from it and he does recommit, but he's got an ET coming on him. Does he see it? I don't think he does. And he does get splashed by that AT. With another 73 coming head-on from 800 on Drona. Looks like he sees that as that 73 is dead, but then R77 coming. Is he going to be able to notch that? Nope, he does get splashed by that one. So we see all this action compacted into what looks to be 2 or 3 minutes once the defensiveness from both teams subsides. And inSKY really taking it to ITGC in this matchup. We got ITGC down to 1 pilot with Stiglitz against 4 from inSKY. He's on the 6 of 1823, but if 1823 maintains his current approach, he's going to run into the help of 925, but that 73 is going to be a problem, and I think it's going to hit him. There it is! Oh, man! That was sniffing fumes coming on from 1823 there. I don't know how it didn't hit him.
Incredibly close, just out of energy.
I mean, we're talking inches on the tail there. Stiglitz is in trouble now from 115. See another merge. And he does get splashed.
I think they had control there, ITGC, but again, they used up a lot of missiles and they ended up merging 1v1, which is not a good idea. But yeah, hats off to inSKY, that's pretty resounding win.
I would agree. They really turned the tables there. I thought ITGC had control, like you said, but over the past couple minutes, when shit really hit the fan, inSKY came out on top, definitively.
Yeah.
And it was, I attribute a lot of that to the shape that ITGC had up until that point just kind of disintegrated.
Well, I think you can only keep the shape for as long as you have, you know, long-range missiles, EVR missiles. Once you start running out of ERs, you know, you can't command that distance anymore. And if you do that, then you've really got to merge 2v1, because if the other guys have actives, it's just no good trying to go 1v1. It's too
well,
risky.
I would say that you can maintain shape, but it's more, you have to maintain shape in a different way, where if you get engaged, you need to drag to a friendly, and maybe that that friendly doesn't pick him up on radar, guides him in on IR, so you just need to change your approaches here, and you need to, if you're getting engaged, instead of taking the fight forward into an engagement where you're got 50-50 odds or less, or hell, maybe 60-50 or something, you take it and drag to a friendly, which changes that engagement to maybe a 90-10, where the engagement is now drastically in your favor. So it's the biggest thing with air combat, and the pilots that succeed, they don't take engagements that are 50-50. They only take the engagements that are hugely in their favor, and they use tactics, situational awareness, and shape to push the engagements into their favor. And that needs to be utilized, in my opinion, more, and could have been utilized more by both teams, with bagging and dragging back to friendlies, and not overcommitting into engagements, even if you don't have the long range missiles any longer. So we'll watch these guys RTB. If they do RTB, we see inSKY take it 2-0, week 14 in SATAL 2018. And go ahead, Rage. Sorry for cutting you off.
No, I was just going to say, you know, hats off to inSKY for winning that. I think ITGC could have turned it around. They were looking pretty compact about halfway through that round, where they could have, you know, pushed as a 4-ship onto 1 or 2 guys and, you know, push the advantage their way. But, you know, like I said, it's easy for us to sit here in F10 and journals and talk like that. It's much harder when you're in the pit and your RWR is screaming at you and all this kind of stuff. So, good stuff. And of course, unlucky to each round lose a pilot to a disconnect.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Again, that could have gone a different way for ITGC had there not been a disconnect.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, there's not much we can do about it. I mean, we can't. It's really hard to facilitate connections worldwide when we only have one server. And on top of that, it's not necessarily a server. It's maintaining, you know, connections for the entire world in different server locations. And if we move it to a different location, does it cause a problem for the other team, and then facilitating and managing that server? And it's just, the logistics become problematic. Yeah,
well, that's because you know, they have to be sort of physical servers. Hopefully, when we get a dedicated server, it makes it much easier to sort of co-host, well, not co-host, but have a virtual machine somewhere, which would be much cheaper and easier to do. You don't need a beefy computer to run the game.
So while these guys RTB, is there anything that you would have liked, and we touched briefly on it for ITGC, that you would have liked to maybe see better or more well executed from inSKY?
Well, I think inSKY always like to play to their strength, which is a very defensive game. So I think they did that pretty well there. You know, they baited a lot of missiles, and they, you know, they made ITGC try and push into them. I would have liked to have seen them maybe support each other a little bit more. I still feel like they're open to a very aggressive tactic, because they're so defensive that they get separated in their extents. And if you have a very aggressive squad, that could push into them, they could find themselves isolated. And there were at least a few times there when I thought that one or two of them could easily have been sort of picked on by another sort of ITGC 2 or 3 ship. But you know, it didn't happen that much in this match. But I think that sort of defensive tactic means that they're open to that, and also we have to be bear in mind that they could get pushed out of the bubble if the team just decides to ignore their boxes, just push into them. But it is working out for them thus far. I'd be interested to see how they fare against a squad like SF, who are traditionally quite aggressive. That'll be I don't know. Have we had that match yet? I don't think we have.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see how the defensive nature holds up against a squadron that is overly aggressive.
Yeah.
And see what happens.
Cool. Well, thanks for hosting me, Malta. I gotta step off for a little while. But,
Yeah, no problem. I'll wrap it up.
Congrats to the teams. Well flown. And see you guys next week.
So we've got 1155 and 925 leading the way on approach back into Makeup, with 1823 and 155 rejoining in trail.
User left your channel.
Not really sure what's going on with the rain here. Some weird stuff. Looks like they're taking different approaches here. 925 may be landing on runway 22, while 1155 may be landing on 04. See what they're doing here. Nope, 1-1. And he did an overhead for 925. Probably just trying to bleed speed. Is he going to get in here in front of 1155? Unknown. Let's watch these guys on approach. There's the rain. That's better. Can hear him. There's somebody coming in on an ingress to runway 04. Could be problematic. One of them's coming off, turning on base, or whatever we would call this for an overhead. I don't think he's far enough out for this to be base. He's really slow. Be Compacts, welcome. Thanks for the follow. So he does put it down, so that's one pilot effectively landing for inSKY. They clinch the round and the match. 2-0. inSKY takes week 14. inSKY versus ITGC. We'll watch the rest of these guys land. I'll wrap this up while these guys are putting it in. I want to give a big shout out again to our sponsors, Lot ATC, for everything that you do, Dart, for making this whole thing happen with providing Lot ATC for all the teams. TacView, providing the advanced licenses for our in-game prizes for the teams that take first and second. Buddy Fox for all their hardware support. and the new stuff that they have for the A10 hardware modules and their 9 key and all that stuff coming out. And of course, Heat Blur for their generous contributions of modules and 500 euros for the winners. Thanks again, guys. Much appreciated. It means a lot. It's the only reason we can make this happen. Looks like 1155 got a little squirrely. He lost landing gear. Uh-oh. He did land. He didn't die, so that does count. But we did see 925 put it down earlier, so it doesn't really matter. But we're just watching these guys come in. Again, guys, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. We'll be back again next week. Let's see who we've got. Next week, TA versus Lock on Greece, and then the week after, SF versus 59. So until then, have a good one, safe flights, and I'll catch you guys next time. Have a good rest of your day.